It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live
the Bostonian versus the Book. Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the Book.
Here he is, Matt Perron!
Enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show.
Well, I gotta unmute myself. What's up, boys and girls? We gotta work on the new intro a little bit. How are you? Can I say Happy New Year? It's the first show for the Bostonian versus the Book in 2026. My name is Matt Peralta. We are live on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the Book. That is the same handle for Twitter X at Boston versus the Book. Replayed on Sports Grid TV and audio podcasts wherever you guys get your audio podcasts. The break was restful. It was good. It was needed, but we are back, and we are back with a bunch of new things. There in the intro was the first. That is the first of what will be a fun first quarter. We got a lot of things cooking, a lot of things in the hopper, and there is the work done by the one and only Sonic, where if you are a really old school person when it comes to content for me, you recognize that intro, at least from audio standpoint. And yes, that is the one and only Bruce Buffer, who did that for me back when I was doing radio. That was my radio intro that is then cut and spliced together with the BVB intro, reconstituted, repackaged by the wonderful works of Sonic. And we've been on that for about a month. Him and I went back and forth to get all that done. So now here we go, and we can roll with a new intro for 2026. Coming up on the show today, my five favorite moments for the sports moments that happened while we were off. We will recap, and we will probably have breaking news during the show. I mean, the Raiders fired Pete Carroll today. The Falcons fired Raheem Morris yesterday. Kevin Stefanski got fired by the Browns. I'm sure there's multiple coaches I'm missing at the moment who have been fired here on Black Monday. So I guarantee there's going to be more news that will come out today from the NFL coaching carousel. The Raiders have the first pick in the draft, and they have an incredibly attractive opportunity for somebody to come in here and take over a team led by Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers, and maybe Max Crosby if he sticks around. But you've got a very difficult division, but the Chiefs are not the Chiefs. The Broncos are going to be a problem, and the Chargers are going to be a problem. They're both in the playoffs. The Chiefs are not, and the Raiders are the worst team and have been the worst team in football for the better part of 2 months. And now they get a head coach, new coordinators, and the number one pick in the draft to determine their future. Will it be a quarterback? You better believe it'll be a quarterback. The question is going to be when, because Jamarcus Russell was the last time the Raiders had the number one pick overall and took a quarterback, and it was an absolute bust. Tom Brady's legacy as an owner and a talent evaluator will be scrutinized, intensely scrutinized, if he gets this pick wrong. There's a lot of pressure on Brady to get it right, not just from a head coaching perspective as to who comes in here and is the head coach of the Raiders, but also who are they taking number one overall. So we got all that to get into. The college football playoffs. Oh my goodness. Like that's part of the opening line here in just 1 second, but that's crazy. Who's left? The 4 teams that are left in the college football playoff. Okay. That was not something we all thought we'd be sitting here. Bye-bye blue blood. We don't have a quote Cinderella, but we do have a very unique Final Four. And one of those teams, well, almost all of them, Miami's won a championship. The other 3 have never won a national championship in their history. And what's so fascinating is that we always wondered about a playoff situation. If we had a bracket, would we see different teams getting a chance to win a championship? And so far, after this year, that answer is a resounding yes. It's a 100% yes. So we'll get to that a bit during the opening line, but also later in the program. Favorite thing about today, it's again, you guys, but my goodness, you should have most likely received your hats that were sent out before the Christmas break. If you didn't get your hat yet, or your hoodie or your t-shirt, please be patient. I'm assuming they're going to arrive at some point in the next day or two. I got a Christmas gift delivered yesterday or Saturday. I got home yesterday, but on Saturday it was delivered. It was supposed to have been here on the 23rd of December to give you an idea of somehow the logistics of things that were being sent out. So if you are awaiting a hat, t-shirt, hoodie, whatever you may have ordered, please be patient. Hopefully it will arrive at some point in the next 24 hours for you to be able to do that. Okay, good to see Josie Myers got his on December the 30th. It was supposed to have been there before Christmas. Got your hat yesterday. Good job. Glad to see it. Happy to see it. So good shots on that. Very, very cool situation coming up with that. You guys can go and shop right now if you're wanting to get a hat like this or a different hat, hoodie, sweatshirt. Hoodies are really nice, by the way. TheBVBShow.com to get the link to head on over to buy with the BVB store. We are welcoming back an old friend. Opening line still here, but our old friend Huel, the presenting sponsor of the opening line. It is time for the opening line, the first one of 2026, being presented by Huel. It would be my favorite things, the 5 favorite things that happened while we were off for the break for 25, the end of 25, into 2026. On your screen is a QR code that you can take your cell phone out and fire, and that will take you to what Huel is offering to start 2026. I had this for breakfast this morning. I have reinvigorated my protein content desires for 2026. We're going to get my shoulder right. We're going to get my body right. It's not a New Year's resolution as much as it's trying to give myself some goals with some consistency and trying to flatten out the good days and the bad days. Because let's be frank, we're all chaotically running around here, okay? So, limited time offer right now. It is a full high protein starter kit that you can get for 20% off with the code BVB by going to Huel.com/BVB. New customers only. Code is valid for just the bundle, but Huel has stepped up and been a great sponsor of ours here for BVB, and they're back again for another run here. And I'm somebody that has been looking for easy ways to keep myself consistent. So the high protein starter kit from Huel is really easy to do it. It's 5 Black Edition ready to drink breakfast, lunch, dinner. The Black Edition chocolate powder, the vanilla, I had that this morning. And right now, Huel is in Target nationwide. And according to Mikey Awesome, it's buy one, get the next purchase half off currently for the ready-to-drink bottles on the shelves right now at Target. This is the Black Edition ready-to-drink. It's a complete meal, 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners. It is gluten-free, and it does taste good, which is somewhat shocking for people. I have used the powder a ton. If you want something a little bit more customizable, I have this probably 3 times a week, where you take the Black Edition powder, vanilla or chocolate, you mix it with some, make a smoothie out of it. You can take bananas, you can take strawberries, take blueberries, you can use water or milk. I tend to use milk. These are things I use consistently. The Huel, the full high protein starter kit online with the code BVB to save 20% off for new customers. Thank you to Huel for sponsoring the opening line. And you can use that QR code right now on your screen to go ahead and fire it for 20% off, thanks to our friends at Huel. All right, number 5 for my 5 favorite things that happened while we were off here in 2026. Let's start with the bracket. The NFL playoff bracket. It looks dramatically different. We've talked about the college football bracket being so different. Well, how about the NFL bracket? looking completely different. Here are the games for Wild Card Weekend. The Patriots are the 2 seed. They're playing the Chargers in Foxborough. The Bills are on the road. They have to go to Jacksonville. The Jaguars are home for a playoff game, and the Steelers win the division, and we'll get to that game here in a second, by beating the Ravens, and they will host the Texans, who have been red hot, but they did not win the division. In the NFC, the Packers have to go on the road to play the Bears. The 49ers have to go to the Eagles, and the Rams head to the Panthers, where they are the biggest road favorite in playoff history. They are laying 10.5 points on the road in the postseason. Our number 1 seeds, the Denver Broncos, are the 1 seed. The Seattle Seahawks are the 1 seed on the other side. This is a much different look than what we have had in the past in terms of the bracket. No Patrick Mahomes, no Lamar Jackson, no Joe Burrow. On the other side, we're looking at an NFC with no Dak Prescott. The big name quarterbacks, the high-priced big name arms are not in the NFL playoffs. Will that lead to better football? I don't know. Will that lead to a higher rating for people to pay attention? I don't know. People like watching Mahomes. They like watching Burrow. They like watching the big name quarterbacks. This is the playoffs. Much like the college game, people tend to wake up and go, oh my gosh, it's the playoffs. Let's watch some football. Wait, who? Drake May? Who's that? You get all these different questions. I mean, Trevor Lawrence? Really? Like, what? CJ Stroud? Like, these are the next generation. We are watching a changing of the guard in the NFL. And I will say this, if Josh Allen cannot win the AFC in this year with this bracket, he is not going to win a Super Bowl or play in a Super Bowl with the Bills. He will have to go somewhere else. He could go at the end of his career and have a ride and a run with somebody, but he will never have an easier path to the Super Bowl than he has right now. The bracket is completely set up for him. Now, I'll give it to you. There's a chance that the Bills have to play on the road at Jacksonville and then on the road at Denver. That is no cup of tea. In fact, if you look at the stats and how Jacksonville will match up with the Buffalo Bills, that is the worst matchup for Josh Allen and the Bills in the opening round. They would have had much more success against the Patriots if they had wound up playing against New England or against Pittsburgh. They would have had a much easier time. But because they have to run the ball to be successful, and James Cook is going to be facing the best rush defense, stopping the run defense in the NFL on the road. And yes, you might go, well, it's not that big of a home field advantage. It's still on the road. It's not the cold of Buffalo. And if you flip this around and if you made the Jaguars go north to Buffalo and all of the wind and the snow and the cold, a completely different situation, I would say, for the game. But this game in Jacksonville is a massive problem for Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. And right now, sitting here on Monday, January the 5th, I don't think they win the game. And the Bills can't get to a Super Bowl without all of those bugaboos of Burrow and Mahomes. And now it's Trevor Lawrence and Drake May and Bo Nix standing in the way of Josh Allen getting to a Super Bowl. Again, I'm not sure he gets there in a Buffalo Bills uniform. He may need to go somewhere else for him to get there. Number 4, for my favorite things that happened during the break while we were off, Drake May was ridiculous. Like, these numbers are ridiculous. Drake May is the first quarterback to lead the NFL in both completion percentage and yards per attempt since Joe Burrow did it back in 2021. Breeze did it in 17. Romo did it in 14, and Tom Brady did it in the magical 18-1 year that did not end in the championship for the Patriots. 71.95 completion percentage is the 6th highest for a single season in the history of the NFL. Drake May, 4,394 yards passing, 31 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. He ran the ball for 450 yards and had 4 rushing touchdowns this season for Drake May. I mean, what an incredible season for Drake May. And what an incredible run for this Patriots team. Yet, Drake May is not going to win the MVP, according to the betting markets. Matthew Stafford will win the MVP, which is somewhat laughable. But fine. You're going to give it to Stafford for a Lifetime Achievement Award. This is not an MVP award. This is not most valuable. Let's be completely clear as to what we are giving here. We are not giving Matthew Stafford the Most Valuable Player of the Year award. What we are giving, is a Lifetime Achievement Award. He's playing with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua. He's playing with a very good offensive line, a very good quarterback, a very good head coach in Sean McVay as a quarterback who has been around for a very long time. Very good running game on top of that. Look where the Patriots are, who they're playing with, and what Drake May did the last 2 weeks. Again, against the Dolphins and the Jets. You might say they're clown show team. That's fine. They are. But he was incredible. And this has been one of the most interesting markets. It's why I have not bet into it at all. It's one of the most interesting markets, how it all played out. And ND Irish, I have no idea how the Raiders beat the Patriots. It was the wake-up call. That's exactly what it was. It was the wake-up call. The Patriots losing that game in week 1 to the Raiders and the interceptions. And really the same thing with the Steeler game too, with all the turnovers. Both those games, 2 of the first 3 games at home for the Patriots, they lost. They lost 3 games all year. They went 14-3 on the year. And the Patriots lost all 3 games at home, which is ridiculous. They were undefeated on the road. You look at where this team was in September to where this team is now. Drake May had to listen to Josh McDaniels. Drake May had to play within the system. Drake May had to be on point. And he, with these 2 tight ends and the running game that the Patriots have, that's how. Turnovers. 100% turnovers are why the Patriots lost those first 2 games of the year to the Steelers. 5 turnovers in that game, 2 on the goal line, 2 fumbles by Ramondre Stevenson in that game. Now, Patriots aren't turning the ball over. And the result is they went 11-0 this year against teams under 500. Now, they're not playing under 500 teams the rest of the way unless they somehow face the Panthers in the Super Bowl. But they're going to play more and more difficult opponents. But you do get to build up some level of consistency. You do get to build up some confidence when you're playing. Number 3, the Bengals are the Bengals still. The Bengals have decided to keep Zach Taylor. I just can't get over it. This guy, Lance McAllister, covers the Bengals. And he wrote yesterday, this is not today, this is yesterday, after the loss. Yesterday, he says, operationally, mechanically, and situationally, Zach Taylor has proven he's not up to the task. From play call confusion, clock management, 1-score losses, the Bengals work at a disadvantage each and every week. Too often, Taylor is overwhelmed. Even after 3 straight non-playoff seasons and a 6-11 season, and yet another home loss, he's a smooth talking, have a beer with guy. He's just not the guy to be on the clock as the timer continues to tick down on Joe Burrow. That appears acceptable, and so it goes. Because Mike Brown, the team president, made the announcement that we are bringing Zach Taylor back because he has 1 year left on his contract, and the team, the ownership, they don't want to pay anybody to not work. That's how cheap the Bengals are. That they're going to keep a guy that they know is not the guy. Without Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor's record is pathetic. When he has Joe Burrow, he wins and went to a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow. But that's not winning because of your head coach. That's winning in spite of your head coach. After the game yesterday, you heard players like Jamar Chase, when he was asked about confidence level in the coaching staff, said basically, I'm confident in myself. Not I'm confident in the coaches or we like the coaches. I'm confident in me. There have been reports that Zach Taylor was receiving some pretty loud support from Joe Burrow and company, but that doesn't mean you keep the head coach just because the players have a relationship with him and he's a nice guy. I have nothing against Zach Taylor personally. I just covered him as a college athlete. I covered him under Bill Callahan. I've had one-on-one conversations with quarterback Zach Taylor, not head coach Zach Taylor, but sometimes guys just give off the aura. And at no point in time do I ever think that Zach Taylor would wind up being be a head coach with a quarterback like Joe Burrow in the NFL. He was a JUCO quarterback who wound up playing at Nebraska in one of the most tumultuous times in Husker history. And yet he was able to find his way to the coaching staff under Sean McVay, and that became magic fairy dust that everybody has been chasing now for over a decade. And yet he keeps his job because the organization simply will not move off of a contract that they signed. While commendable in some ways, in today's sports world, you don't get to throw away a year of prime Joe Burrow because it might be expensive to pay two coaches for 1 year. That's Looney Tunes. Be better with the contract. Be better when whoever you sign next to say there's offset language. You must go find a job. You must go be employed. Whatever you got to do to protect yourself if you're going to be a cheap organization like the Bengals are. But keeping Zach Taylor, I was rolling laughing today. If I'm a Bengal fan, I am throwing things at the wall today at the idea that I have to endure another season of Zach Taylor coaching the Cincinnati Bengals. That division is ripe to be taken over. If you just had someone who's competent, you should just have somebody who actually knows what they're doing and someone who actually can benefit the franchise and coach up the Bengals. That division, look, you got an aging Pittsburgh Steelers team. Mike Tomlin may or may not be back. Depends on what happened next weekend against the Texans. If Tomlin loses that game, he will not have won a playoff game since 2016, and that could wind up having the team move off of Mike Tomlin to somebody else. And you've got a Harbaugh coached Ravens team that could be also parting ways. We'll see how the offseason goes, but the Ravens very well might be looking for a new head coach because he might be leaving. John Harbaugh might say, I'm out. He might wind up going to Michigan or somewhere else. He may go work in television. Mike Tomlin may go work in television. Like, there is opportunities here. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski. They need quarterbacks. They need help. They got a great defense, but the coaching staff's going to be replaced. So what happens with that defense? And Myles Garrett, does he come back? Does he retire? We'll see what he looks like for next year. If you were a competent coach going into multiple years, 5, 6, 7 years on the job, you should be dominating this division. And keeping Joe Burrow healthy, obviously, is the most important piece. And we're going to consistently use that excuse that, quarterback got hurt. Got to keep him. Sorry. Quarterback has to go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Number 2, the Giants really are the most hysterical franchise in the NFL. The Raiders have the number 1 pick because the Giants can't figure out that you're not supposed to win in week 17 and week 18. You're not supposed to win. The Giants are 8-30 over their last 38 games. 4 of the 8 wins have come last year in week 17 and last year in week 18, which killed their chances of becoming the team with the first pick in the 2025 draft. They won in week 17 and they won in week 18 this year, which killed their chances at owning the number 1 pick in the 2026 draft. Instead, the Las Vegas Raiders will be selecting first for the first time since 2007. Like I mentioned, they used that pick on quarterback Jamar Russell, and we know how that went. That was not a good pick. That was not a good move, and it set the franchise back 5 or 6 years. But the Giants are hysterical. Like, laugh out loud funny for the Giants. And finally, number one, my favorite thing that happened while we were off on break, the college football Final Four. I mean, it is remarkable when you look at this bracket as to how we got down to the Final Four. No Alabama, no Georgia, no Ohio State, no Notre Dame, no Michigan, no Clemson. If you are a college football fan and somebody drugged you and knocked you out in 2010 and you woke up in 2025 to Oregon, Indiana, Ole Miss, Miami as your Final Four, you would probably say, put me back under. Like, what are we talking about? How in the world did we get this? How in the world are we sitting with Ole Miss while their entire coaching staff is being basically raided and replaced, while all their talent is being recruited by the leaving coaching staff? There are coaches who are leaving to go to LSU with Lane Kiffin. They are actively recruiting kids at Ole Miss to follow them to LSU while Ole Miss is playing in a national championship semifinal game. The portal opened up 3 days ago, and it's the absolute wild, wild west on steroids. Okay? And it's absolutely insanity to go, hold on a second. A coach who has already accepted a job at LSU is now coaching in the national semifinal, and they're all getting bonused, including Lane Kiffin. They're all getting bonused by Ole Miss for these wins. It's in all their contracts that they win, they make the quarters, the semis, they get all of these extra bonuses that will kick in. If Ole Miss beats Miami, which I'm not sure they're going to, but if they beat Miami and they're in the national championship game, Lane Kiffin gets to make millions basically in bonuses for not doing a damn thing at Ole Miss. He just gets to sit there and watch all these players play for a national championship, and he's done nothing. Does Lane get a ring? I think they would have to give him a ring. Yes, I think Lane Kiffin would get a ring if Ole Miss wins the national championship. They are 2 wins away. They are 2 wins away. Ish thinks that Ole Miss is going to win it. Oregon, Ole Miss final. Ole Miss wins it. Could you imagine if Ole Miss wins this thing? Like, it's one of the craziest stories in my lifetime involving college football, because forever, as someone who covered the sport dating back to when I was 21 years old and started covering the ACC, we've had these conversations about brackets, right? Like, what happens if you put these teams and on any given day, you have a chance to knock out one of the big boys? And that has happened. That has happened here. The bracket has gone completely haywire. Oregon beating James Madison and Texas Tech to get to the semifinals. Well, they'll play Indiana, a team that is not technically a Cinderella, but kind of is a Cinderella. I mean, you got to be kidding me. Indiana beats Alabama 38-3. They beat the damn brakes off Alabama. I mean, they had no answer. They couldn't stop anything. Alabama's defense got destroyed by Indiana. Miami was the most physical team on the field by a ways against Ohio State. I mean, they pushed around the Buckeyes, and they're the 10 seed. They beat A&M by riding their defense and really playing outstanding football on both sides of the line of scrimmage. I mean, Miami's secret is old school smash mouth football. They're going to beat the living crap out of you, and they're going to make you make some business decisions. You know, everyone's sort of clowning on the Michael Irvin taking his belt off and smacking whatever he wants to smack with his belt and saying we're putting a belt to ass. That's the new saying for Miami, BTA. It's not wrong. I mean, as analogies go, as celebrations go, it's not wrong. I mean, that's what Mario Cristobal's team is doing. I mean, Carson Beck is doing nothing really. I mean, this is about the big boys up front and a dominant defensive line. They're running the ball and they are stopping you from doing anything that you want to do on offense. They're getting upfield. They're blowing up basically any play you want to run. They're playing at an absolute elite level. Like if you're telling me who wins the national championship right now, I think it's going to be Miami. Just given the way they're playing. And whether it be Oregon or Indiana, because I do think Miami is going to beat Ole Miss. So Miami beats Ole Miss, and then you've got Miami in a national championship setting up against two teams that pretty much mirror in some ways what Miami wants to do, right? Physical football with speed. I mean, Oregon is physical at the line of attack with a ton of speed. Same thing to be said for Indiana. They are physical at the point of attack, and they got speed. They run the ball 5 yards a clip, and that sets up the RPO option offense for Mendoza, and that's how he is so accurate throwing the football because he doesn't get touched. Like, I was watching a really cool breakdown of his season, of Mendoza's season, about whether or not the Raiders should take him with the first pick overall. And there are some really big red flags about his game projecting to the NFL because the offense that he runs in the NFL better look a lot like the offense that he runs now. And if they try to make him into a pocket passing quarterback and they try to make it into under center, you know, a very pro style, Mendoza's not going to be your guy. But maybe they don't. Maybe they want to run the RPO because of Ashton Genty. They can take offensive linemen. There's been some thought about trading Max Crosby for a first round pick to go get a left tackle. So then you get your quarterback, you get your left tackle, you already have your running back, you already have your tight end. You can start to build out pieces if you're the Raiders. But he could be the Heisman Trophy winner and the national champ. Indiana can absolutely get there. And then if it's Miami against Indiana, that's a really interesting football game for a national championship. Miami versus Indiana for the national championship. That would be wild. You know, Ross, this is a great point. They do need a lot more than the quarterback, but they're going to take the quarterback. This is going to be a quarterback pick. Who? Dante Moore should be the pick. If you're asking me, what do I think? If I'm the Raiders, who would I draft? Dante Moore. I would be 100% talking to Dante Moore at Oregon saying, hey, are you going to come out? Because if you're going to come out, we're taking you first overall. And that's the pick for me. I don't mean to disrespect Mendoza, but that's who I want. If I'm picking for the NFL, if I'm projecting for what the quarterback will look like going forward, that's the guy I would want. I want Dante Moore. Does he stay at Oregon, though? Right? I mean, how much money can Oregon pay? A pretty penny. And maybe he'd be the number one pick next year. And maybe he wants to stay for a year. So I would say draft the quarterback if he's there. But if he's not there, you can trade out of it. You can get multiple first round picks. You can get, you could trade down and get, 2 or 3 picks potentially and try to rebuild that way. And I think that could be a very smart move as well. But Brady is going to be involved in the quarterback eval. And this is on Tom Brady, right? The coaching hire won't just be on Tom Brady, but the drafting of the quarterback, if they do take a quarterback with the first pick on the draft, it's all going to be on Tom Brady. His eval, his thoughts, his ability to look at a talent, to coach a kid up to see, okay, is this the guy that we want to be the face of the franchise going forward? It's a lot of pressure on Tom. That's a lot of pressure on Tom on this. And look, this has been the line forever. The Mendoza character conversation. We did a whole opening line on the kid's character. I love the kid's character. He has the makeup of a franchise quarterback. He has the makeup of what you want in a guy who is going to be the face of your franchise. I just don't know about the offense, right? You could be the greatest guy in the world. I think Marcus Mariota is one of the greatest guys in the world. I love listening to Marcus Mariota talk. Marcus Mariota has been an quarterback in the NFL. He's a question mark in terms of his career as to what he has done, right? Unbelievable career at Oregon. But he's been a journeyman. He's bounced around. He's been a guy who's been decent, but not, he's not hoisting any Lombardis anytime soon. So that's my worry about Mendoza. That's my only issue with that. Indiana fans are all in. I get why they're all in on this team, on this kid. He will never buy a drink in Bloomington ever again. But does that make him a franchise quarterback, number 1 pick overall for the Raiders? We'll see. We got some time. Let's talk about what happened last night. All right, what happened last night? My goodness gracious. So the Ravens have this whole thing with Justin Tucker, the most accurate kicker, arguably the greatest kicker of all time. Off the field, the guy's a scumbag. Off the field, the guy is a deviant. And so Justin Tucker is gone. The team then drafts a rookie kicker come in to replace Justin Tucker. And wouldn't you know it, the entire year rides on the leg of Tyler Loop. You saw a missed extra point on the possession before. I'm on the plane, and I'm watching this whole game on the plane. And I got a couple of Steeler guys behind me. I got a Ravens fan a couple of rows up. And the fourth quarter noise was like the flight got delayed by 2 hours. We sat on the plane forever. The flight back from Boston to Vegas is always 5.5 hours. It's 4.5 hours going there. It's 5.5 hours coming back. I can tell you that last hour is brutal on the plane, but I'm watching the fourth quarter and I'm watching these teams go back and forth up and down the field. It was pure magic. It was two bad football teams. Both the Ravens and the Steelers stink. Okay, both those teams stink, but it made for cinema. It made for awesome football. It made for an incredible night in Pittsburgh to watch the field, to watch the game, to watch how it came down to kicking. And when you miss an extra point, when 55 seconds to go in today's NFL, with the leg of these kickers and the new K balls they're allowed to use, you're thinking to yourself, the Steelers are going home. Because Boswell missed the extra point, and that's going to be the story, that Boswell misses an extra point, and thus the Steelers lose by 1. The Ravens are going to win. Lamar Jackson marches right down the field. Incredible catch by Likely. He had an unbelievable game. You're lining up a 44-yard kick. This is a kick that you expect a professional kicker to make nearly every single time. And yet he missed. He missed the kick. He said after the game he knew it was wide right as soon as he kicked it. Was there help? Was there help? And what I mean by that is, before the game, a priest was seen spreading holy water in the end zone, the same end zone where Tyler Loop missed that kick, sending the Steelers to the playoffs. I'm not a very religious person. I just really love stories, and I love that story. I love that story because I like to think that it wasn't just the priest that was out there pushing that ball wide right, but it was our guy, Consig, who hated the Ravens. That was, he didn't hate any team. I never saw Dave hate on any team except the Baltimore Ravens. Dave hated the Baltimore Ravens. And the fact that Pittsburgh received that big of a break to send Mike Tomlin and the Steelers to the playoffs, Aaron Rodgers, one more game at least. It's not just a playoff game, it's a home playoff game. Unbelievable. Just choom. The ball just goes up and just fades. And you could almost have told, once the ball got struck, you're like, wow, how did that happen? You just saw the ball just completely go right. So bad. Awful loss. Awful loss for the kid who missed the kick, Tyler Loop. Awful loss for John Harbaugh, who might be out. awful loss for the Ravens franchise, who might have to decide between Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh if the reports are true that the guys cannot and will not exist together going forward, that a divorce has to happen. So as to how do you pick, which ones do you pick? It's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable when you take a look at this. JPC Dave also would have a field day with the SEC frauds. Yeah, and I would have pushed back on that and said, what are we talking about SEC frauds? I mean, okay, so Oregon's a Pac-12 school. Like, we're not claiming Oregon. Big Ten folks don't get to claim Oregon. I'm sorry, you don't get to claim Oregon. Just because they're in your conference doesn't mean you get to claim Big Ten superiority because Oregon is in the Final Four. Indiana gets you there. I'll give you that. The ACC is the biggest surprise, but Miami has spent more money than anybody over the last 2 years in the NIL market. Miami has gone out. I mean, what would Carson Beck get? $5 million to play quarterback? I mean, it's ridiculous when you stop and think about it, but it's Cam Ward last year. It's Carson Beck this year. You're paying big time money because there are big time Miami boosters, and there's going to be even more big time Miami money coming in to that program. I mean, Miami has been the biggest beneficiary of the new rules because they can go and buy players, and they have bought unbelievable players because in South Florida, you can essentially recruit a national championship caliber team if you never leave the state. Heck, you don't even need to go north of Orlando in the state of Florida, and you can recruit a national championship caliber team if you're able to pay for it. And Miami can now pay for it. Ole Miss is in the Final Four. Let's not forget that. So I don't know if you guys forgotten that the SEC is represented in the Final Four. So there's one Big Ten team, there's one Pac-12 team, there's one SEC team, and one ACC team. There's 4 conferences represented. So, I mean, when does Oregon become a Big Ten school? I don't know, but not yet. Not right now. Like, you can't, no, not right now. They're a Pac-12 school. It's the stupidest thing in the world that Oregon is a Big Ten school. Oregon and Washington being in the Big Ten is stupid. Same thing can be said for the Big 12. You know, having UCLA in the Big 12 is stupid. Like, it's just, there's some really stupid things with geography going on right now in college football. And I think eventually one day we'll all kind of wake up and go, this is stupid. Why am I flying to the East Coast to go play football? Like, I don't need to do that. USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, like, you know, what are we doing? It's just stupid. Gonzaga is a Pac-12 school. Well, the new Pac-12, right? The new basketball version of the Pac-12. Yeah, I forgot. USC and UCLA are Big Ten schools. Excuse me. See, even stupider. Both dumb. Both stupid. All 4 of those schools being in the Big Ten is dumb. And eventually I think all 4 of those schools will wake up and go, this is stupid. We should be in our own conference. And then I think you could have, you know, a decent conference, good TV ratings, good TV markets, once we all kind of wake up and realize that this is not working, because you're not going to get the same level of respect. You're not going to get the same level of coverage when you're having to deal with it. But I mean, Oregon is in the Final Four. So, you know, clearly it's a big deal. Stanford and Cal in the ACC is stupid. 100%. That's stupid. That's dumb too. That needs to go away. But when, I don't know. I don't know when it goes away. So the Falcons fired Raheem Morris. I think Raheem Morris will be a DC next year if he wants to be. I mean, the Falcons really cost me a lot of money, man. The Falcons winning that game yesterday. I was watching, I follow Baker Mayfield's wife, Emily, on Instagram, and she was putting as Baker was watching the game, knowing that Tampa needed the Saints to win the game to get into the postseason. I felt really bad for Tampa because they did their job. They went out there and won the game they were supposed to win. And so I was pissed off because I had, you know, the biggest preseason ticket that I bought was the Bucks at +110 to win the division. And so I bet +3 on the Panthers. Panthers lost by 2. So I covered that bet. So not only did I have a bet that cashed for the Panthers and the Bucks, I also still had the future that was alive going to the next day with the Falcons and the Saints. Saints had to win. Having 2 teams playing a meaningless game to send two other teams, one or the other, to the playoffs is dumb. Like, watching that was stupid. It was great cinema. People were paying attention to the Falcons and the Saints way more than they would have been because you're seeing who gets to go. What ends up happening is that a complete garbage team, and I'm not saying the Bucs are much better, but they're better than the Panthers. Okay. The Panthers are a garbage team. The Bucs would not have been 10.5-point dogs to the Rams, but that's what the Rams are favored by 10.5 points to the Panthers. So the win, because you have three teams that finish 8 and 9, and the tiebreaker goes the Panthers' way, is stupid. And I feel for Baker Mayfield. I feel for the Bucs because their injuries were so brutal this year. Baker playing on a bad ankle, a bad knee, and a bad shoulder should have been in the playoffs. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers should be in the playoffs. They're not. But Raheem Morris got his guys to play hard. The second that the Falcons got eliminated, the Falcons started to play unbelievable football. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why that happened, but no, I didn't hedge it because I had already won a bunch of bets around it. I won the Panther bet, like I had won. There was no way of getting out of it except for taking it pregame, and I wanted to bet it in game. So I had plus 110, right? So it didn't leave me with a lot of wiggle room. So here's my mentality with it. I had plus 110. And so the money line bet to go ahead and bet money line, it was like minus 145 to go ahead and bet money line if I wanted to. And I didn't want to do that to bet the Falcons money line. They were favored by 3.5 at home against the Saints. So I wanted to get a better price in game. So I was waiting for the Saints to get a lead. The Saints got an offensive pass interference at the end of the first half. They had the ball on the 1 yard line on 4th down. They got an offensive pass interference call that took away a touchdown. That killed me. If that touchdown happens, they would have been up by 1 at the break, and then I would have been able to come in and hedge. That pissed me off beyond all belief. I was furious with it. So no, I didn't get out of it per se. I didn't lose. I lost some money, but I didn't lose as much money because of all the other bets. I went 4-0 yesterday. I went 3-0 the day before. Officially on the Daily Juice, I haven't missed a bet in 2026. I haven't missed a bet yet because the NFL has been really good for me this year, and the NFL in week 17 and week 18 was really good for me. Now, a lot of it was hedge. Okay, it was hedge bets, so I was able to go up, go other side. So I had a Texas Tech future, and I went ahead and I bet Oregon. I had the Panthers at +3 that cashed. So I did really good. It was an awful OPI call. I agree. That sucked. That was a horrible OPI call. But that's the way things go. So the gambling gods owed me one on that. So I ended up losing that future wager, but I had done so well that it wasn't really that big of a deal. It was just, okay, fine, just take my lumps and move on to the next one. But that was really frustrating. I feel bad for Tampa Bay on that. That stinks. The Browns fired Kevin Stefanski, 2-time AP Coach of the Year, gets let go. I don't think this surprises anybody, to be completely honest. I think most people would agree that this is the right decision for just how this team has been run. The Browns have been an absolute mess for far too long. And really, Stefanski's handling of the Shedeur Sanders situation, and not just Shedeur Sanders, but also just the quarterback room in general, I think turned off a lot of people inside the organization and turned off a lot of people around Cleveland and the Browns that Stefanski probably wasn't going to be the guy. He's going to get a job fast, like really fast. He'll work again quickly. He very well could be an OC next year or maybe a head coach somewhere, but I do not expect Kevin Stefanski to be gone for too long. The Seahawks are the number 1 seed, and they are now the betting favorite to win the Super Bowl. We have that 14-1 ticket on Seattle. It's now plus 420. So we got a hell of a CLV on this. The Rams are plus 440. The Broncos are 6.5-1. The Eagles are 8.5-1. The Patriots and the Bills are 10-1. Texans 11. Jacksonville Jaguars 14. Bears 18. And away we go up even higher for the potential for teams to win the Super Bowl. But Seattle coming in with the bye and the plus 420 makes sense for that. It's hard to watch that Seahawks team in week 17, week 18, and not think that they are the best team in the NFL. I mean, I've been talking about this now for weeks, that I think they're the best team in the NFL, and I think that they are ferocious. And Sam Darnold, as long as he doesn't throw interceptions, this team is going to be a very difficult out at home. Now, Mike McDonald is a better coach on the road. It's just a fact. I don't know why. The Patriots are undefeated on the road. The Seahawks were unbelievable on the road and have been unbelievable on the road. Sometimes this teams play better away from home. I don't know why, but Seattle will have a home playoff game. We'll see the opponent after this weekend. The Patriots have a home playoff game right this coming weekend. They could lose to the Chargers. It's just they don't play well at home for whatever reason. Although they played very, very well last week against the Dolphins at home. I'm very curious to see how these teams play who have very strong road records, who are then playing home playoff games, which is what you want to do. You don't want to play a road playoff game. You want a home playoff game. But if you're better on the road, would you rather be on the road than be at home? So we'll see. Sam Darnold has the chance to eliminate and erase a lot of memories that teams and fan bases have about what he was, not what he is. But right now, with Jackson Smith and Jigba, with the running game that he has with Walker and company, with the offensive line, and with a defense that is flat out nasty, Seahawks are the odds-on favorite to win it all, and they should be. And they absolutely should be. He's tremendous. Can't wait to see how it goes, but he's tremendous. Two quick non-football stories. The first being basketball, because I got to give my guy Jaylen Brown some props. We don't talk much basketball right now, but we got to talk about Jaylen Brown, because Jaylen Brown was snubbed for the Player of the Month in December. And while everybody thought that was not going to be a big deal, that he and the team wouldn't care, because the Celtics are 10 games over 500 entirely because of Jaylen Brown and the way he is playing without Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown is playing at an insane level. He turned around and dropped 50 on the Kings after he did not win the Player of the Month in December. When you combine the 50-point game and the 11 previous games, Jaylen Brown's averaging 33 points, 6.5 boards, 5.3 assists, with a shooting split of 54.5, 40.5 from three, and 79.8%. I mean, it is, he's the MVP. Jaylen Brown is the MVP of the league right now, but they're not going to give it to him because nobody likes Jaylen Brown. They don't like him personally. Jaylen Brown, I don't know if I can say this or not. I'm going to say it anyway. Jaylen Brown's a prick. And that's why I like Jaylen Brown. I like him because he doesn't care what you think about Jaylen Brown. He doesn't care if you don't like his shoe line, if you don't like his politics, if you don't like his haircut, if you don't like the beard, you don't like the way he dribbles. He doesn't care. He simply doesn't care. And he goes out there, and without Jason Tatum, he's been unbelievable. And the Celtics are doing something which is really remarkable right now. They don't turn the basketball over at all. Like, look at the stats for Boston and how they're winning. They're playing incredible defense. They're not turning the basketball over, and they're shooting a bazillion threes. They're just jacking threes like crazy and playing defense. And they're winning. And they're winning consistently right now. If they get Jason Tatum back by Easter, which has been that's been my barometer. Like, can he come back by Easter? And if he's back by Easter, it's January. The Celtics could be in the finals very easily. The East is wide open. I mean, wide open right now. And if you get Brown at this level and Jason Tatum coming back just as a role player, it'll be Jaylen Brown's team, and Jason Tatum would just work his way back in. He wouldn't have to be the one. He wouldn't have to be the guy. It's Brown's team for right now. But you put Tatum out there, and you got Tatum and Brown playing at this level with where Joe Mazzulla is coaching at the moment. Okay. Yep. Okay. We could very well be talking about the Celtics very soon. Quick hockey update. We have not paid attention to this. We need to. The Colorado Avalanche are 17-0-2 at home this year. They have not lost a home game in regulation yet this year in the NHL. They are running away with the Pacific Division and running away with the overall conference point lead at the moment. They just lost their first game in 11 games yesterday. Like, Colorado is at a wow level at the moment as to how they're playing. Now, we got a long way to go, but I think if you're an Avalanche fan, I mean, they are an absolute wagon. Like they are unflipping believable at the moment for Colorado. 17-0-2 at home. Let's go. Like, if you're an Avs fan, you got to feel very good about where your current team is situated. All right, let's take a first look at the early games here for Wild Card Weekend, and there is a theme here for road favorites. Let's start with the Rams laying 10.5 points against the Panthers. I cannot get over this number. Like, I cannot get over this number for a road favorite to lay double digits. And if you're taking, with a straight face, if you're taking the Panthers, bless you. Bless you. You got to talk to me and try to convince me as to how. I don't care what happened earlier. I don't care about the win against the Packers. This is a playoff game in which Devontae Adams is going to play. They're going to get Devontae Adams back. Okay? They're going to have Puka Nacua. They're going to have Devontae Adams. They're going to have a running game. And the Panthers are going to have to rely on a passing attack to keep up with the Rams that I do not believe they're going to be able to against LA. I know it's a West Coast team traveling east. I know it's a dome team playing outdoors. I don't care about any of that. Panthers, I think, are in big trouble. I just can't wait to see where the number goes. Do we see it come down at all? It's a money line play. It may not be laying 10.5, but it's 100% a money line play. Panthers are going to get smacked. It's just a matter of by how many points. I can't see the Panthers being in this game. I just can't. McVay, this is a coaching mismatch. This is a quarterback mismatch. This is an offensive mismatch. This number is right. Yes. Panthers beating the Rams. Yes. A fluke. Yes. Yes. In a playoff setting, no way. Not with McVay. Not with the way he's doing it. No. Fluke. 100%. Packers, Bears. Packers are favored on the road. Oh. The disrespect. The disrespect. Ben Johnson's pissed off. He's mad. Didn't like the offense yesterday. Lions go to Soldier Field. They were up 16-0 in the fourth quarter. They blow the lead. They get the ball back. Game-winning field goal. Lions win. Lions go to Cancun. Bears are in, and they get the Packers. They get the Packers. The Eagles could have been the 2 seed if they played their starters. They could have been the 2. They could have avoided the 49ers and played the Packers. And frankly, maybe it would have been better to play the Packers than to play up against the 49ers. But you've got a Packers team with Jordan Love, who clearly is not healthy. You have an offense that has not been great for Green Bay. You've got a defense that does not have Micah Parsons, and you have a team in the Bears that hasn't been great offensively. They've been much better defensively, and they've run the football effectively. We'll see what the weather looks like. Not that it matters. It's Green Bay and Chicago. I'm not probably betting this game. I just can't wait to watch this game. Like, this is so fun. This is so fun. I cannot wait to watch this. These fan bases hate each other. These fan bases despise each other. And yet we get a playoff game setting with Caleb Williams at home in a playoff game with everyone calling the Bears frauds. I mean, the Bears are being called frauds. Even with this number, the Bears are being called fraud by Vegas, saying, yeah, Packers favored. Home playoff game, yeah, Packers favored. Same thing with the Bills and the Jags. The Jags are at home. The Jags are a much better football team. I will be betting this. Give me Jacksonville. Give me money line Jacksonville. 1.5. The Bills are favored. Why? Someone's got to explain to me why the Buffalo Bills deserve to be favored in this game on the road against the best rush defense in the NFL. They can't move the ball without James Cook. If the Bills can't run the ball, the Bills can't win. If they don't run, they lose. Josh Allen can throw a cape on and do whatever Superman routine he wants to do. It doesn't matter to me. He can't do it all. And this offense with Liam Cohen, with Trevor Lawrence at home, with ETN, with Jacoby Myers, with what they've done overall this season, I don't get this. This Bills being favored on reputation alone. This is about respect. This is about just saying people are going to bet the Bills, so make them lay the point. Knowing Jacksonville is the side. The Jags are the side, so let's make the Bills favored. Go ahead. Let's let them lay it because everyone's going to bet the Bills. Oh, it's Josh Allen against Trevor Lawrence. No one's going to trust Trevor Lawrence. They're all going to bet Buffalo. Make them lay the 1.5 points. Oh, it's nothing. It's basically a money line play. I get the Bills money line. Let's go. I don't like trap lines, but this screams. This is no, thank you. We'll do the remaining 3 games in bonus time. If you guys are watching live, don't move. More to come if you are on the replay. Thank you for being here. We're back to our normal schedule now, 10 o'clock p.m. on Sports Grid Pacific time, 1 a.m. Eastern time, 1 hour every single weeknight on Sports Grid. Thank you for watching. Back tomorrow. The rest of you guys get bonus time. Let's continue. Eagles and the Niners. The Eagles could have had the 2 seed. They could have avoided this game. This is a really hard game for Philadelphia. Like, this is tough. 2 great coaches, 2 great quarterbacks, a lot of injuries, a lot of questions about Christian McCaffrey, questions about Saquon Barkley, questions about the defense, question on whether they're not going to be able to do much. So this number is tricky. 3.5 is tricky. This is a field goal game, one way or the other. This is a field goal game. So I don't know what to make of this, to be quite honest. So I would probably be leaning taking the points with the 49ers, but I need health. I need to see how this team's going to approach this. But this is not a good matchup for the Eagles. And I think Eagle fans are angry about having to face the 49ers, knowing that they could very well be one and done and be out, given the fact they got to face San Francisco. For the 49ers, they knew that if they beat Seattle, they would have had a chance to stay at home throughout the entire playoffs, and they would have had a bye. They would not be playing this weekend. They could have gotten healthier, not going to get healthy, but healthier, and then having a chance to play at home for the divisional round and then the NFC Championship game at their building at Levi, and then the Super Bowl we played at Levi Stadium. They thought they had that opportunity. They knew they had that opportunity, and that they lost. Seattle pushed them around. That defense could not stop the running attack for Seattle at all. And thus they're the 5 seed, and they're on the road against the Eagles. The Patriots are home favorites, 3.5. Watch the weather. I mean, look, I just saw the Miami Dolphins up there. It was 19 degrees on Sunday yesterday in New England, and I'm watching this Patriot game, and I'm just like, my God, they get a West Coast team playing at home. I thought it was going to be Buffalo, and I was like, my God, Bills, Patriots. Like, I did not want that. Thought the Patriots would lose that game. Bills, the Patriots, and the Texans thought the Patriots would lose that game. The Pats got the best matchup that they could ever have hoped for. This is perfect. Now, it's not a guaranteed win because it's Jim Harbaugh and Justin Herbert, but this is a banged up team with an offensive line that's a complete shell, and you have Drake May at home against a defense that I think he will have success moving the football against. This is what, if you're a Patriot fan, this is what you want, and you want Old Man Winter to show up in a big, big way this weekend. You want frigid temperatures. You want blustery winds. You want snow flurries. You want everything to make it as nasty as possible for the LA Chargers to come from Southern California up to Foxborough to play at Gillette Stadium. This is the best case scenario. I think the number is right for that reason. Patriots, small favorites up against a Charger team that's pretty banged up. Oh, it's going to be mild, Deuce? Really? Oh, how mild? Like, you're talking like 45 degrees? What are we talking about? And you know, it's New England, so the weather can change in a drop of a hat, but total is 46. That's not that surprising. Total should be like that. That's about right. It's a game in the 20s, both sides. I'm down with that. I'm cool. 45 during the day. Damn it. That sucks. Yuck. I wish that wasn't the case. But again, it is an outdoor team. So, dome team versus outdoor team, maybe that. But I wanted the weather to kick in. That's 45 is, man, that's a huge break for the Chargers if that weather pattern holds. And then finally, the Texans on the road against the Steelers. They're laying 3.5, another road favorite. Texans are road favorites. The Bills are road favorites. The Packers are road favorites. The Rams are road favorites. 6 games, 4 of them road favorites here on a Tuesday. Now, on a Monday, rather. Now, it may flip. Okay, we may see the numbers change, but as of Monday, the opening numbers, road favorites. Surprising to me to see this many road favorites. You got the Texans and the Steelers. Tomlin needs this game, in some people's opinion, to wind up keeping his job. That he might wind up going elsewhere, that he might wind up not being part of this organization going forward if he loses this game. And I think he's going to. I think this Texans team is going to go to work. I think the pass rush, this is a dead under, like 100% dead under, but you do get DK Metcalf back for Pittsburgh. That's big. It's going to help their offense a lot. But I just think this is a dead under game. Like this is a low scoring game between Pittsburgh and Houston, because I don't think the Steelers score, and I don't really like that Texans offense right now. It's all on CJ Stroud, and when you put that all on his arm, that worries me. They almost lost to the Colts. They got fortunate. They were fortunate to beat the Colts on Sunday. So to me, yeah, just consider having another miracle. I don't know. They might need it. They might need it. So I like Texans to win the game. I'm not sure I want to lay the 3.5, but I do like the Texans to win and advance. Let's make a bet for tonight. It is time for Just the Picks, being brought to you by the Betting Pros Prop Bet Cheat Sheets. You guys can go there, bettingpros.com, or download the Betting Pros app to see what projections they've got for tonight's NBA and this weekend's NFL games. I have one bet in college basketball, and I have not seen the latest number on this, but 14-0 Nebraska is a road dog to Ohio State tonight, and I think it is time for the Huskers to lose, finally. I do think this is going to be a win and cover for Ohio State. This is a 1-point win, according to KenPom. But you have a Buckeye team that is very efficient offensively. Nebraska is ranked 22nd on KenPom. Ohio State's ranked 39th for KenPom. But I do like this Ohio State offense, 23rd in offensive adjusted efficiency, 17th in effective field goal percentage. Offensively, they are 7th in 2-point percentage, and they're 9th in free throw percentage for the Buckeyes. This should be a game that will approach the total of 155.5. I don't hate a play on the over here on this game, but I'm going in and taking Ohio State. I'm going to lay the 2.5 points. Buckeyes -2.5. News of the industry. News of the industry. Our friends at Circa have told us about the winners for both Circa Million and Circa Survivor. There is a millionaire. There is a winner for Circa Millions. There is a multitude of winners for Circa Survivor. Hell of a run here for, and I'm Coney Hop 1 for winning Circa Million, taking home $1 million. Tiebreaker by having 15 weeks to Bison Sports Cards 2, 14 winning weeks. That's how we break it out for a $1 million Blue Blazer for those guys who had a hell of a run. They hit 60.5% of their plays. That got it done, which is pretty impressive. I had a pretty good year betting for the NFL, but I didn't bet 5 games a week. And I probably had 3 or 4 sides a week in the NFL this year. And for me, I was very happy with what I did. I hit at a 57% clip this year, not betting 5 a play, but of 173 sides and totals that I took, I hit 57.8%. I was 173 was my record in the NFL in 2025. That includes the postseason of last year. So I guess it's not fully, but for the calendar year, that's what I wound up with, 57%. So I would have put myself, into the top 10 if I had been in Circa Million, but again, I wasn't picking 5 games. I'm probably going to do the Circa Millions next year, but congratulations to those guys. And then for the $18.7 million for Circa Survivor, how about that? Look at that. 5 teams made it all the way to the end. They each split $3.7 million. They turned $1,000 into $3.7 million. Unbelievable season for all of this. I do not recognize any of those team names. So if you are someone, if you are that person, or you were able to go 20-0 in Circa Survivor, congratulations. Just an unbelievable run with the biggest Survivor contest in the history of sports betting in America. To have that with Circa Million and Circa Survivor, 20-0 is pretty damn impressive. That is really impressive. And that is a $3.7 million takedown for Circa Survivor. Very, very cool. Congratulations to anyone and everyone who was involved with that. Whenever Circa Millions and Survivor, whenever it ends, I just can't wait for it to get going again. Like, it's, you know, we're here in January. Signups will start again coming up in May. And it's like, they'll do the check ceremony coming up on Friday here in Vegas, where we'll have the big checks being awarded to these teams that were able to have W's to get the wins. And it's just such a cool setting. It's such a cool deal. Very, very fun. Very cool. Congratulations to all of them for that. Jimmy Football is asking how the Sherapans liked their Christmas. They loved it. I got text messages from the girls, from Jessica. They loved what you guys were able to do by buying these hats and hoodies, these Dave edition hats and hoodies. So we gave each of the girls $700 for Christmas in cash. So that's what Dave used to give. I don't know how much he used to give, but you guys gave $700. We sold those hats and hoodies and t-shirts, and 100% of the proceeds, the profits, went to the Sherapan girls for Christmas. So I don't know what they did with the money, but I don't really need to know what they did with the money. I'm just happy that we were able to give it to them. It was very, very cool. And that actually is a nice segue, Jimmy Football. I appreciate that, into my favorite thing about today. Ooh, where's that? I moved all these things around. I'm gonna have to learn to see where I put things. There it is. Favorite thing about today for me, it's you guys, it's the hats, it's the hoodies. You guys are getting them. When you do get your stuff, if you do tag the show at Boston versus the book, I will put it out. I'll retweet it. So that's our guy Lewis who got the hat. He got the white model version of the Dave signature hat. That is our guy Joseph Mogan from Tennessee. He got the BVB hat and he got the hoodie. Both very cool for him to put those pictures up. I appreciate him doing that. Everything about today is you guys and doing that for the Sherapan girls, but also getting your hold of some gear. I'm telling you, the hoodies are awesome. I'm a big fan of the hoodies. We got to work out the t-shirts a little bit. We got to work out the hats a little bit. There's some tweaking, not big fixes. I wouldn't call them a fix, but there's some tweaking with the hats I would like us to do over the next couple of weeks, if possible, with Corbin and I. But the hoodies are tremendous. They're soft. They're comfortable. They're easily, I like zip ups personally. Some people like pullovers. We do have the pullovers, but I do like the zip ups coming up here on that. Addison is asking, can Pittsburgh and New England meet in the AFC Championship game? Yeah, but you remember the NFC, the NFL reseeds with the bracket. So as we look at the NFL, bracket, you've got the Patriots as the 2. So you would need Denver to lose for that to end up happening. So like the Patriots would win, the Jaguars would win, and then the Steelers would win. The Steelers would then wind up going to play Denver. They would beat Denver in Denver. The Patriots would beat Jacksonville at home, and then the Patriots would host the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. That's how that would happen. That's the only way that could happen. But that's how, if we were going to see a Patriots and a Steelers AFC Championship game, that's how that would happen. Sorry. I'm rusty. Excuse me. Gagging and choking. Sorry. I'm rusty, talking for an hour and 20 minutes straight, or Buffalo wins. So Buffalo would win. Let's play that out. So we would take Buffalo wins. They would go to Denver. And then Steelers win. So Denver would lose to Buffalo. The Steelers would then go to New England, but that would be in the divisional round. That wouldn't be in the championship round. So they can play each other. They could wind up playing, but that wouldn't be for the AFC championship. So that's how that would go. So Scott, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, man. Thanks for the support. Thank you for the message. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the brigade. So they could play, but it would be a divisional round game. The question was, could they play for the AFC championship game? So they wouldn't be in the AFC championship. They'd just be in the divisional round. But Pittsburgh and New England can definitely play each other coming up in the playoffs. Guys, thank you for being here. So happy to be back. This is great. We're going to be rolling here in 2026. We got a ton of cool things coming up. If you missed the intro, the new intro, you can come back and watch it here, or you can watch it tomorrow. But great job out of Sonic for doing that. That's my other favorite thing about today is that we rolled out the new intro. Thank you for Sonic for doing that. That's going to be a lot of fun to play with some extra things. We do have other cool new things on its way, but cool thing from Sonic, cool thing to start 2026 first show of the new year with a new intro. Back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time for a Tuesday's episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.